but we'll figure out what bugs there are and work through them as we find them. All right, we'll create an asset menu. This is going to be called Constellation Mesh. Constellation Mesh, okay. It doesn't have a star database loader. It has a constellation database loader. Constellation database loader. And stars per mesh. We don't need any of that. Generate assets. Yep. Now what's it complaining about? Oh, right. Constellation mesh. Constellation mesh generator. And we're not using any of this. All right. So how are we going to generate the meshes? Well, first of all, we'll start off with the data. So we'll say database dot constellations dot select dot select. Is that it? Yep. Okay. So for each constellation, we're going to create a mesh. So we'll say select constellation C create mesh, and we'll pass in the constellation C dot stars and also the constellation dot name. So as in the mesh will have the same name as the constellation. And then once we created our constellations, all we're going to do is we're going to save it. So for each, I'm going to say CM because it's a constellation mesh. And perhaps with this other one, I'll call this one CI for constellation info. Okay, constellation mesh asset utility dot save mesh asset. Okay, folder, and we'll pass in the folder path. Remember, the folder path is what's and also pass in the mesh CM. The folder path is what's our asset generator declares, and this inherits from asset generator. Okay, now creating the meshes, it's not exactly the same because instead of saying it's similar. Instead of saying a mesh topology of lines or points, we're having a mesh topology of lines. Now, there's a lot of almost identical code here, and you might be thinking like, oh, should we really be copying and pasting? Shouldn't we be clever and have some sort of inheritance or construction of objects? I'm going to say no. The reason being that at the moment this create mesh is identical or almost identical. The thing is that as we go along, we might want our constellations and our stars to behave differently. We're going to be passing more interesting information into our meshes down the road. So yeah, this looks good. Let's go ahead and try it out. Oh, I haven't even explained it. This is why I say I don't really want to copy and paste, because I get like the laziness just snowballs. Okay, so what are we doing? We're saying for each star in the mesh. For each star, all right. So okay.